Hello, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to my first ever model locomotive review. First off, happy Christmas. I hope you all had a lovely day yesterday. Myself, I'm still stuffed full of Christmas turkey and profiteroles and Jack Daniels, bizarrely. Let's not go into that. I had a lovely day yesterday with my family. I hope you all did as well. And Santa and my parents and other people also brought me some rather lovely things, and one of which I'm going to be reviewing today. Over there you can see that's my Class 25. That didn't come yesterday. I bought that a few months ago, pre-owned. It's a lovely Bachmann model, very nice. And it's pulling three things I did get yesterday under the Christmas tree. A couple of wagons, or a few wagons. Great Western fruit van, BR banana van, and a BR 12-ton Grampus wagon, I think, a coal wagon. I'm not too much of an expert on wagons, but those were brought yesterday. But I'm not going to dedicate an entire review to those, not when my last present was unwrapped to reveal this beauty. Trust me, this is an absolute stunner. Here we go, let me just see if I can get the light into place. Lighting's not great, I do apologise. Here it is, my last present that I opened yesterday. It was deliberately saved till last, just to wrap up the anticipation, and boy was it worth the wait. This is a brand new Hornby Class 50, number 50048, Dauntless, in early Network Southeast livery. And, well, she's an absolute stunner. Brief technical details to start. She's DC at the moment, but DCC ready, which means that literally there's just somewhere in there, if you just take the body off, there's an easy plate where there's a blanking plate on it. You take the plate off, DCC tip in, 8-pin socket, boom, and we're into DCC running. And the functions she offers are, as you can see there on the front, that light and the head code lights, they all light up. They go yellow or sort of amber or white when it's going forward, and obviously red when it's going the other way. Also another function, I don't know if you can see there in the little grill, that fan spins when it's in operation. I did a test of it yesterday in DC form, and it spins like that when it's under power. Obviously in DCC it'll have the function to spin whenever it likes, which is why one of the first things I'm going to do is get a DCC chip for this. When I do build my full layout, it is going to be full DCC throughout, because I just think it offers... I mean, I understand why people are a bit wary of switching to it. It is kind of complicated and a bit expensive, but well, seeing as I'm starting from scratch, I might as well start from DCC from scratch, because it just offers so much. And well, there's the technical specs, and let's just have a look at the front, spin it round. Now, funnily enough, I actually went looking yesterday for some photos of the locomotive. There's a sort of perspective view along the length of it, and I actually wandered onto a few forums with a few guys who were really quite grumpy over this model. They were they were writing off as a sack of steaming, well, you know what, saying, you know, this was wrong, you know, the paint scheme's rubbish, this, that and the other. And to be honest, I mean, I'm hardly the most studious. I mean, I've been into this hobby really since August, I think. I mean, I used to love trains when I was very little, but I sort of grew up to that, and then I've come back into it. So I'm probably not the biggest expert on these locomotives, but I know enough to know if something's glaringly wrong. And to be honest, I think some people are being a little harsh. I mean, I know people sometimes are very much detail fanatics, but the way I sometimes see brand new locomotives out of the box, they are sort of like a blank canvas. You can leave it as is, and as is condition from the box. I mean, look at it, it is a stunner straight out of the box. You can use the detail pack, you can put that on. As you can see there's some details in that. Also, just to let you know, as you can see there's a gap. You can see it. See there's a gap. That's because this was floating around loose in the box. I think that's like a battery box or something, so I'll get a bit of super glue on that pronto. Or you can, you can weather it up, you can do what you like to it. I mean, one of the first things I'm going to do, this isn't necessarily criticism, as you can see there's the nameplate. Looks very nice, but it's just a flat decal at the moment, so I'm going to get a sort of physical etched brass nameplate to put on there just for extra detail. Just, out of personal preference, that's what I want to do, but, to my mind, I think it looks really nice straight out of the box. The only thing that really is sort of noticeable, sorry, just getting distracted by the radio on in the background. West Ham just equalised against Fulham, annoyingly for me. Back to the business at hand. This is the only thing that sort of is really noticeable, the sort of tone of the yellow ends. I mean, I've pulled up specifically for this review, I've pulled up a photo, I don't know if you can see it, with like sort of lens flare on it. I pulled up a picture of the real thing. There it is, sitting in Birmingham New Street Station in 1987. You just compare, as you can see, the yellow on the front, on the ends of the loco the model are slightly darker, sort of mustard colour, but what you take into account is that this one might be a bit faded as well, so that might be why it's also a bit sort of lighter in sort of hue. As for the other details, there's some grills there, you know, pretty much all the details are there. It's sort of minor things. I mean, people saying, oh, the red stripe's too thin on the model, and you know, little things. You know, to be honest, you know, if that's you're bothered by that sort of thing, then you know, you can correct it or do your own thing. But for me, I mean, I think it looks brilliant. Straight out the box, looks fantastic. As you can see there, I'll spin it round. I showed you, let's have a look on the front. You can see there, hang on. Let's get some light on it, shed some light on the situation. And if you can see there on the front, you can see the little holes where the little detail pieces go in. I don't know what's happened with that. That sort of got skewed in the box. I'm going to see if I can use some like pliers to sort of tease it more into a sort of natural hanging position. And as you can see there, some nice little window wipers. And you can tell, obviously, this has been a refurbished one. Well, you can tell that because it's in Network Southeast. All the ones that were refurbished, well, the pre-refurbished, they would have been in sort of BR blue, but obviously there's that little sort of extra light in that on the front. And also, worth mentioning, sprung buffers, which are commonplace on Hornby locomotives nowadays, and a little, you can see there's a little NEM coupling socket. And they do provide little couplings on their locos, much like those ones over there, as you can see. But I'm actually going to go and buy some KD couplings. I don't know if you've heard of them. I think they're an American design, and they sort of look a bit more realistic, or less intrusive rather, and B, they also mean that locomotives and what they're pulling are sort of slightly closer together. Further adds realism, really. Let's have a look down the side. As you can see, there's the flashes on the end. Another commonplace on Hornby models nowadays, opening doors. Big fan of these. I'll put some figures in there for some drivers. Now these grills here, that grill there, you're thinking, why are these two deeper into the body, sort of recessed in? Well, there's a couple of little sort of hooks or latches that you get in the bag of details, and you sort of tuck it under there. I've yet to try this out actually, and you can adjust. If I just move that, you can see that they move. You can sort of open and close them a bit more for whatever preference you want. I mean, up on the real thing up there, you can see they're all pretty much closed as they are on the model, but I don't know. I'll have to do some further research when they would be open, but it's a nice little trick, nice sort of feature. You can do it. There's the Network Southeast logo and branding. Looks very nice. I mean, maybe I'm biased. I do love this livery straight out of the box. My favourite diesel livery is BR Large Loco, but this is a very close second. Also because I do live in the southeast, so maybe I'm a bit sort of, you know, natural, I don't know, geographical bias. There's the nameplate and the numbering. A little sort of detailing chart there. Little warnings. It's an overhead. Oops. Camera got a bit temperamental there. Threw its toys out the camera and tried to focus on the warning sign. Is that a overhead wire sign? Overhead something or other. Little warning sign there. Little rails on the door. Very nice little details. It has a very nicely detailed model. The bogies look very nicely detailed. And again, if it's your preference, you can leave them. I think they look very nice straight out. Or you can get some paintbrushes out, do a little bit of detailing on those. It's all there. It's sort of like a blank slate. You can leave it as is if you're happy with it, or you can sort of do your own thing on it and personalise it. Probably what I'm going to do pretty soon. Spin it around to the other end. You can see, again, that wire's sort of been pushed up over the buffer. Again, I'll just have to tease that down into a natural position. Same story this end, really. Some little steps there. And overall, I mean, I think it's a lovely model and locomotive. They've brought out a faithful representation of it. As for the model of the actual loco, it looks fantastic. I mean, there probably are some tiny glitches with the paint scheme. I mean, like I say, the only one I can really notice is that being a slightly darker shade, but seriously, these are small things, to be honest. For me, anyway, they don't bother me, and I think it's an absolutely fantastic model. I think it looks an absolute stunner, and it will take pride of place on my layout when I eventually build it, which will be a sort of southern Great Western terminus running through about the 60s to the 70s and preservation era as well, which is probably where this will go, because Network Southeast was around in sort of mid to late 80s. But it'll take pride of place on my layout, and it looks a stunner just sitting here on a piece of track, to be honest. So my final rating, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, 9.5. just not quite close, not quite perfection, but damn close. I mean, it is a stunner, and I love it basically. So thanks very much for watching. I know this is probably not the perfect model locomotive review, but it's my very first one. I hope to improve as I go on, and hopefully get more locos over the next few months with any luck. And thanks for watching. I hope you had a great Christmas, and have a very good Boxing Day as well. And I'll see you soon.